This is the Build Zone podcast.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to episode 133 of the Build Zone podcast. My name is Allison Jackson, joined by my co-host, Mike Maloney. Our presenting partner is the Rowley Agency, and our lightning round sponsor is Bald Hill Builders this week. Mike, tell us about our presenting partner and our lightning round sponsor.
And thank Eric Horner and the folks at the Rowley Agency enough for being the presenting sponsor the past couple of weeks. We appreciate his support. We've talked to him a few weeks ago on the podcast. If you do not follow Eric Horner, follow him on LinkedIn. He posts every day, sometimes several times a day. He's doing great things up there at the Rowley Agency. Reach out to Eric and the folks over at the Bald Hill Builders. Check them out on LinkedIn. They're doing some great projects all over the city of Boston, and we appreciate their support. It's summertime. It's middle of July, which means Major League Baseball's All-Star Game was this week. A lot of the news this week talks about the horrible rendition of the national anthem sung by Ingrid Andress. What do you think of that one, Allison?
I mean, knowing what we know now, I think it's very, very sad. Not knowing what we know now, watching that was horrifying. I mean, the poor thing, four-time Grammy nominee. So you'd think, right? Like, okay, like she's got some pipes, but obviously there's a lot more going on in the background that, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, but that rendition was horrible. It definitely surpasses like Fergie's, what was that for? Was that the All-Star game in, for basketball?
I believe so,
Fergie?
yep.
I believe,
Yep.
because I know it was Steph Curry was there, so it was definitely the
Yep.
It was that team that the name is escaping me. But I mean, it makes me think of that. It makes me think of, if you remember, the Steven Tyler national anthem where he started with the harmonica and everyone was just kind of like, all right, man.
And then, my era is the Roseanne Barr at the same thing, sung the national anthem, and then she grabbed herself and spit or something like that, right? So yeah. You never seen that before? Oh yeah.
No, I've never seen that. Oh,
Roseanne
that's why.
Barr.
So I was in the comments on this, obviously this current one with Miss Ingrid, and someone was like, what about Roseanne? And I was like, oh, I'm sure that's bad, but I'm not going to look it up right now. But like,
Yeah. You've got to see it, because she literally, like, baseball players always, and then she's like fake spit, right? That's what baseball players do. It's up there, right? So Fergie was bad, Roseanne Barr was bad. Do you think it's okay?
So you froze right after you said, do you think it's okay?
No,
I don't think it's okay.
Do you think it's okay for artists to put their own spin on the national anthem?
Yeah, why not? I mean, people cover songs all the time, right?
Yeah.
It gets a little boring but there's a line, right? Where it's like, all right, you can kind of throw in your own creative mix and stuff like that within these boundaries. But then once you start going, okay, we know. We get it. We appreciate you. We know you're talented. Take that run out on a beautiful song that you write yourself. I want to get to the game so I can go to the stand and get a hot dog. I want everyone paying attention so the lines are low.
All these artists want to be Whitney Houston, right? Because Whitney Houston's rendition was amazing.
So I want to be Whitney. Whitney is Whitney. You cannot be her.
Correct.
Sorry.
People want to be remembered. Whitney did it was Desert Storm, and there was all that. She did a beautiful job. It was probably the most beautiful. Everybody every year, I think, tries to duplicate the Whitney Houston magic, but no one's Whitney. We hope Ingrid gets the help she needs. Yeah. She did go to school in Boston. She went to college at Berkeley here in Boston somewhere.
Oh, I didn't know that. I took saxophone lessons there when I was younger.
Yeah. I only know that because when I saw her in concert, she was with somebody went to a concert somewhere, and she said, "Good to be back in Boston." So she did some school here. This week on our podcast, episode 133. Can you believe it? We're 133 episodes in. We've got Mr. Tyler Campbell from Storybuilder Creative.com. He has an amazing story to tell It was great to speak with him. It was probably the first time I've had someone on the podcast that was recording a podcast while he was on the podcast, which was pretty cool. Let's listen to what Tyler has to say.
Welcome to the podcast. Someone I've been following for quite a while, someone I look up to, kind of a mentor for me here a little bit, but this is Tyler Campbell. Tyler, welcome to the podcast. We're excited to have you on. We love what you're doing, love what you post on LinkedIn. And for those that don't know who you are, give us an introduction and tell us a little bit about all the great things you're doing for the trades.
Oh gosh. Well, I know I post a lot of content and I host a podcast called Construction Brothers. And I don't know if that helps things. It might hurt things on occasion, but we have fun with it, that's for sure.
Yep.
So yeah, I post a lot on social media and just talking about a lot of the interesting things that are new and in the commercial construction space, but also talking about some of the issues in the commercial construction space as well. So we can branch into people, we can branch into the technology, that sort of thing. But that all kind of centers around the podcast, a lot of that concentration. But we also have Storybuilder, or I do, which is a video production company. And we help a lot of construction service companies and construction technology companies tell their stories more effectively, so that it clarifies stuff for the contractors, so they know what the heck they're buying, which I really I'm really passionate about. I felt like I had a lot of that happen to me whenever I was a structural steel detailer for a decade. Buying tech is very difficult because there's a lot of options out there.
Right.
And so trying to find the technology companies that cut through the noise, that, are really passionate about making the construction industry better and making them better, and trying to carve out some of the crummy ones, we'll say, from the industry as much as we can, at least.
And you kind of hinted about it, but you do come from a construction background, so you know a lot about what's going on in the construction world. And when you kind of started Storybuilder, you saw there was a need for this type of stuff.
Yeah.
How did Storybuilder kind of come about? You're working in the industry, and then how did that come about?
Yeah, so I picked up a camera back in 2014 for the first time, and really went headlong into it. I dabbled in photography up until that point, and really went crazy. And you get into photography, it's a pretty quick and slippery slope to video. And so I ended up shooting a lot of video. But in learning that skill, I started looking around at some of the content that was being produced for companies across the commercial construction space. I'm like, man, this is not really saying what it is eloquently or quickly or like concisely. Like people in the industry would just say, like, why don't you just say it like this? Just cut straight to the point. It does this. And so what I'm trying to build right now is more of like a network of experts that we can lean on. So I have great video production people along with experts in the construction field to kind of marry those two worlds, bridge the gap, so that anytime somebody approaches us, they don't have to spend time explaining stuff. They just get the job done, right? So we know the industry, we focus on it. That's the only place we work, is in commercial construction. So felt like it was something that was needed, just because there was a lot of miscommunication happening. And I have interacted with tech products my entire career because we were in BIM in my day-to-day job. So I got to model structures of all shapes and sizes, hospitals and big aircraft hangars and different things, and leading teams there. So I felt the pain of finding tech and then opening it up and realizing this is not at all what it was billed to be.
Right.
Because the video did not show it in the way that it really is. And, we want to show things well, we want to show things right, but we also want to show it honest, show it true for what it is. And, make sure that we're providing clarity across the entire construction space.
And what do you think the biggest challenge is with the technology piece, of getting construction companies to use some of the technology? Because I
They've
think you
been
made a
burned.
post.
Construction technology companies have burned contractors so much over the years as a result of trying to find market fit. Like they've been trying to figure out market fit for years. And to me, I think a contractor goes out, tries a new piece of tech. It might be like, I'm talking new, because there are a ton of startups out there right now. Try a new piece of tech, and then they realize, oh my gosh, this is not at all what I expected it to be. And then, they spent a couple $1,000 on it, or heck, minimum a couple $1,000 on it. They try to implement it across their whole team, and then they realize they're in a pickle. And then it just, they send it off into the abyss with the other technology products that didn't work.
Right.
And so I think the technology adoption issues that we're seeing in the construction industry as a result of construction technology in general not being valuable enough to the construction marketplace. And we got to start speaking up about that sort of thing. Like a lot of construction tech solves problems that aren't even there. They're not there. You know, they're yeah, I don't know. It's
Right.
there are many ways I can take it, but yeah, the problems are just not even there. And it's all marketing and kind of bull at certain points too. So
And
just kind of
there's so many
yeah,
companies out there, right? Whether it be mom and pop companies or bigger companies, right?
yeah,
So the mom and pop companies, they're
yeah,
less likely to grab onto some technology because they don't want anybody in the numbers. They don't want anybody knowing anything, right? They like their
yeah,
old fashioned
yeah,
invoices, and
yeah,
someone in the office types up an invoice and
yeah,
faxes it over, or
yeah.
sends an email, or maybe not even email. They drop it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and send it
Yeah.
over, right? And,
Well, yeah,
uh,
I worked in a mom and pop shop. Literally, my dad owned the family business,
yep,
and like this is a mom and pop shop. And if we would go out and we would buy a piece of tech, it would be a pretty decent investment for us, you know? And
yep,
also, like, you've got a small team, which is really close knit and stuff, tight knit. And you present them this idea of, like, here's this piece of technology, and then it flops on its face, and everybody's looking at you like, hey, you moron, why did you
yep,
do that? So
yep,
that's the reason why people are a lot more skittish about adopting new technology. It's not that they don't believe in what technology can do.
yep,
I'm the first person to say, like, you, I spent a decade modeling buildings. I
right,
understand what technology means to the construction industry. It is gonna change things, but ultimately, at the end of the day, like we have to be honest about the value that some of these tech solutions are providing right now. So there's a difference. It's like I see that tech is valuable. I know that this will make an impact, but there are just so many crappy solutions out there that don't actually solve problems. And contractors are getting burned left and right. And I think a lot of them are kind of sick of it. You know, I want to adopt tech. I
right,
think a lot of them do want to adopt tech. They want to find new ways of doing things to speed them up, make them faster, better, cheaper, all these different things, right? But man, at the end of the day, like if you keep getting burned, you're just going to throw up your hands and be like, it's not worth the exploration at this
yep.
point. I'll just wait a couple more years.
Or I'll just go
And,
back to the old-fashioned ways of showing up on the job site with rolled up blueprints and yep,
an
yep,
Excel spreadsheet. I
yep.
mean, come on. Like, I mean, everybody bashes an Excel sheet, but at the same time, it's like, it's simple. It's everybody knows how to use it,
Right.
right?
That's right.
Like we all want to go out and find this new flashy thing. But honestly, if your people, if your internal people don't adopt it, that's a bigger problem. Like if your people are used to the Excel sheet, I know there are $50 million companies that operate off of Excel.
Wow.
Like that's the truth. Now not saying that's good, but
Right. Now, if you
it,
had to give somebody
yeah,
some advice, right?
yeah.
Maybe would that be a mom and pop or a startup company? What would one piece of technology that you would suggest they get into to get them kind of started? And you don't have to give brand names, but
Yeah, I mean, okay, I think a project management software is an easy one to kind of grab at. I definitely think that there are a lot of different solutions out there that are good. You are going to have to wade through a lot of stuff though. Like you're going to have to wade through a ton of stuff to find a
yep,
good project management software. It feels like they're a dime a dozen. That would definitely be one, but man, I'll tell you what, one that I feel like people overlook is simple modeling softwares, you know. Uh, yeah, picking up even just a license of Revit or Tekla or something like that, something or SketchUp for that matter,
right,
and kind of getting used to that motion of modeling things. If you're a contractor, getting used to that, just getting your feet wet, um, that'll be massively valuable for you down the road. I think people often look at it's easy to pull at the project management stuff, but probably a lesser known one I would say is more modeling platforms. I think that's the thing that's going to be more impactful over the long term for you to understand. And if you understand it, then you can implement it and you can find ways of streamlining your entire process, right? You probably already have project management stuff in place. So it's a hard question because
yeah.
it's
There's a
different for everybody.
yep, yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said,
yeah,
you different size companies, different needs, right? Small teams, large teams. Like you said, some people may be okay with spreadsheets and faxes, and some
yeah,
people,
yeah,
give everybody an iPad and they can
yeah.
communicate and send things. And it's funny how nowadays you can do everything from your phone.
Mhm.
How do they run a business 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago? It was all pick up the telephone.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I used to have a job in the city here where I used to drive mail back and forth between the offices because it was just easier than sending email wasn't a thing back then, right? Give you an
Right. Yeah.
envelope, say
Yeah.
run this across the city. You get in a car, drive across the city, and it was like a little courier service because
Yeah.
it was
I,
just faster.
I will shout one out. I will shout one out on the drawings note. Okay, Bluebeam. If you're not using Bluebeam, is you're doing it wrong. That is one area that I never regretted. I think that's a big big flipping value add for a lot of different companies that are still operating on paper. So maybe starting to bridge that gap and get into a more digital workflow just in that might be a really good first step for you. And I'll also say this too, like, take heart, like keep trying new stuff. All right. Keep asking for those demos. Keep going out there and exploring, seeing what's new, and try to identify those things that really do bring you value, those things that really do bring you value, and make noise about them. If it really brings you value, if it makes your process better, it makes your business better, make noise about it because other people need to know. If we're going to make the industry better, we're going to do this together. And, we got to stop kind of at a certain point, we do need to stop competing and we need to start sharing some of our information. So I think finding those things that are important that make a difference for you and sharing them around with your peers is really doing a lot of good to the industry and also making the tech companies step it up a notch.
Mm,
It's kind of forcing their hand to, say like, oh man, they're going over to this other platform as a result of these features. Maybe we need to incorporate those features too, and then everything gets better, you
right.
know? So we got to make a lot of noise about the problems that we're having and then try to highlight the solutions that are working.
Um, with Story Builder, I know that you're very passionate about that as well. What is like your favorite part of the Story Builder side? Because I know you obviously started with photography, got into the video, you like said, slippery
Yeah.
slope, slid into the video.
Yeah.
What do you like the best about that and the connection with the construction world?
Well, honestly, I get to see behind the scenes on a lot of the new innovations happening in the construction industry, and so I get to work with large companies that are working on fun stuff and NDAs out the wazoo. I've probably signed too many to count at this point, but it's pretty cool I get to kind of see behind the scenes now.
Yeah,
I think that's probably my favorite part. So I am excited about a lot of the stuff that's coming out. I am a tech geek after all. I really am. I
yeah.
promise. I'm not that much of a curmudgeon, but curmudgeonly about the tech companies as a whole. But yeah, no, I'm excited about being able to see the new stuff as it comes out and pick at it myself and
Yeah.
see what it's going to do and talk to the people that are boots on the ground using it and seeing if it actually does provide them value and try to provide the feedback back to the production team or the product team, make their products better. And I just love that stuff, man. It's so much fun.
And especially since you're recording a project from start to finish, right? And then you can put it all together at the end and you can show the
Yeah,
customer, right? The customer has that video and they can show other people or
yeah,
prospects or clients or things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So what's next for Story Builder, if you can tell me at all? What's kind of the next big thing you guys got to get over?
Oh, right now, so I think right now, like we've gone into more construction technology companies, construction service companies, like architects and engineers, and that sort of thing. Structural steel detailers, a lot of them are starting to get it, and they're starting to leverage video content to build their brand and put themselves out on social media. I'm still seeing a pretty good bit of reluctance for contractors, specifically the specialty trades. And I get it. I understand because a lot of them are like, listen, I don't need help selling. I have enough on my plate. Okay. I
Right.
need I have other problems. And so you dig into that and you're like, okay, what are some of your other problems? And one of the main ones is recruiting, finding new people. And this is a big one for the whole industry right now. Finding good people was very difficult. There's something about a labor shortage that people keep talking about. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
heard of it
Oh yeah.
today.
Yep.
I feel like I hear about it every day.
Yeah. It's
Um, yeah, I think a lot of it lies in creating really cool stuff that we could put out on social media. And it does a couple things. One, it attracts existing talent to your company, but it also can help prime the pump and get kids excited about the construction industry too,
right.
right? So like it does both of those things. It helps you recruit the existing talent pool, and then it helps you inspire the next generation. And a lot of specialty contractors are not doing those two things. So think long term. I don't care if it's me that you get. I don't care if it's any other video production company in your city. I would just say start getting used to incorporating video in your marketing strategy, because I've seen the impact that it's had on like having Construction Brothers doing video production, oh my gosh, man, that has expanded our reach
Right.
exponentially,
Yep.
exponentially.
Yep.
And so I see the value in it. And I just want more people to start doing that because I think, and it's hilarious. Like we've got a couple kids like who go to my nephew's school, and they'll come around here to the office or something, or we'll be talking and be like, oh yeah, I watched the podcast. I'm like you're in high school and you watch
Yeah.
the podcast? Like what?
Yep.
And heck, and it's just video content, man. They just like going out and seeing what we're talking about. They'll see Eddie and I goofing around. But the thing is, too, is that they would just as soon like to see a concrete crew out there getting it. They'd like to see a carpenter out there getting it. They like to
Yep.
see glass and glazing. Like it's just cool stuff that we get to do.
Yep.
Show it off,
Yeah, and
you
then
know?
we try to tell the students in our classes, or like when we go to high schools, regular traditional high schools, not a vocational school, who wants to get into construction, and everyone thinks construction is dirty and disgusting and you're digging
Yeah.
ditches. It's not all like that. There's a technology side of things too, where maybe you get into the video production side and you get to go see all the cool construction stuff,
Yeah.
and you're in the business and you're in the industry, but you're not digging the ditch, you're not climbing ladders, you're not pulling wire over your head. So, what do you think would kind of help some of that? The skilled trade shortage, do you think? Well, how can we get more people involved?
We need to start treating people better.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. I think we need to start treating people like they're not like we do treat people like they're replaceable in our industry at this point, right? And it's hilarious because there's not a big labor pool and we still are treating them like crap in most cases. I think there's a big stigma around the industry too. I think we also need to realize that being in skilled trades, man, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's flipping hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
Yep.
For all the rah cheering and stuff of like, hey, we got a labor shortage. We need to get more people in skilled trades. Listen, I get it. I understand. But also, man, that we got to realize too what we're asking them to do. Like this is a hard freaking job.
Yep.
And so I don't know. I think there's an aspect of it is that we need to share, we need to just have some empathy for what our field crews have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Because I know right now I'm in a comfortable office. Things are
Right.
beautiful. Nice 70 degrees in here. Wearing my short
That's right.
sleeves. I'm gonna
That's
drink my
right.
coffee. Everything's
Yeah.
awesome, right?
Yeah.
Everything's great. But I know just around the corner from me, there's a crew of guys working on an elevator pit, and they are sweating their junk off right
Yep.
now. It is hot.
Yep.
They're it's a lot, man. And so I think there's just a realization of like from a cultural perspective, like even in our office environments of like project managers and CEOs or CFOs or anybody in the construction industry, there's got to be this realization of what the trades actually go through on a day-to-day basis. There needs to be more empathy into the construction industry of what they go through, and we need to support them the best that we possibly can so that they can do their best work, we support them through providing them tools and technologies that keep them safe. We do that by, keeping them cool, keeping
Right.
them, or warm, depending on
Yep.
what part of the world you're in, right?
Right. Right.
Here it's cool, up there it's probably keep them
Yep.
warm.
Yep.
And trying our best to just support them. I think that's the only way that we're going to start turning the corner on this is
Yep.
if they realize like, yeah, I mean, it's hard work, but also I get to play with robots all day. I am supported in this way where it's like, yeah, it's hot, but also I've got good PPE on to where I'm not like just sweating too
Right.
hard. I get enough breaks. It's a hard problem to answer. It's a hard thing to figure out.
Yeah. Yep.
If it was easy, then we would have had it figured out yesterday.
Yep.
But I think those are some of the things and some of the ways that we can start turning the corner on this is that we just need to stop neglecting the people that are out there choosing to do this every day.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones that are getting it done.
Yep.
They're the ones that are
If you had to give advice to someone who wanted to get into the trades, what would you tell them? What's some advice you'd give them?
to get into the trades.
Yeah.
Honestly, just start. I think just start. I think there are a lot of I would start in a specialty trade specifically. So let's maybe work into electrical. Let's work into plumbing. Reality capture is a big one right now.
Yeah.
With Matt Bird from Reality Capture Network, and give him a shout out. He was talking about some of the opportunities with laser scanning and stuff. Like, honestly, if you go out and you scan something with your phone and you send it to a contractor and you say, hey, listen, I love this and I would love to come and help you do this, do more laser scanning. There are people out there that would hire you in a flipping heartbeat.
Yeah.
And then you
Yep.
make 6 figures in 3 years if you work hard. And that's Matt Bird's words, not mine. But there are a lot of opportunities out there. I think you just need to get going. I think people look for that perfect path, that perfect, step in, that perfect angle. I think it's just kind of messy at the beginning. You just need to step in there and you need to start, right?
Figure it out.
For me, so my story is that I never went to college. I
Right.
actually went into the family business. I apprenticed there for 10 years. And then I came out and I'm looking at, what I get to do now, which is podcasting and, video production, all this stuff. It's a heck of a pivot from where I started, that's for
Right.
sure. Structural steel detailing to directing commercials. I don't even understand it. All right. It's hilarious. But I'll say this, man, like the construction industry was a springboard for me.
Right.
Where
That's
else
right.
start?
That's it.
It's like, yeah, I mean, I had my dad's business. There was definitely some nepotism at work there. I ain't even gonna lie about it. I know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we were hungry to have people come in who wanted to learn, who
Yeah.
wanted to apply themselves. And I mean, if there was a kid that was 18 that showed an aptitude for building that wanted to come and just stick it out and be like, listen, I'm in for the long term. I really want to learn something. I want to get better. And they came in here, like we would have taught them.
It's great.
Totally. We
Yeah.
need the help.
Yeah.
We need the help.
I don't know. Some companies wouldn't do that, right? Because we've got a lot of people here that are totally green and they want to get in the electrical field, and
Yep.
whether it be ratios or the company doesn't want to hire these totally green people because they don't want to spend the time to train them, but they don't understand how important that training is.
Yeah.
And let's say some companies probably don't understand the importance of the video side of things, right? They like, I'd rather spend the money and get some piece of equipment I can put my hands on rather than
Yeah.
spend it on video. But then when you show them how important the video is and how wonderful it is and how it does grow the business,
Yeah.
the light bulb goes off. Like, oh, geez,
I'll get out of that. I'll get out of that.
Yep.
I'll do you another. All right. How many times do you see contractors go out and buy brand new truck,
Yep.
beautiful, jacked up,
Yep.
nice F-250,
Yep.
door,
Yep.
beautiful, right? They go out and they buy that thing, and you see them drive out on site, and all their workers are just like ripped up stuff they haven't been invested into at all. And so the big thing I keep pushing into people is like, stop spending money on your new truck, start spending on your people.
Yep.
You're going to get a much better ROI on
Correct.
that.
Correct.
That truck lost 10 grand driving off the lot, and you know it. And it made you feel good for 2 weeks. But I'll tell you what, if you can motivate your people and maybe give back to them, heck, you give back to them monetarily, you can go out and buy them new hard hats, new boots, give them a pizza party. I don't care.
Yep.
Give them a pizza party every week for the next year for the
Yep.
70 grand that you spent on the stinking F-250 or whatever it is, right?
Or
Not that I like trucks.
send them to training, right? Get them some training. Get that manager some training. Get that foreman some training. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I mean, again, like I'm a capitalist. I love making money as much as the next American, right? Like I get that. But also like, man, we got to reinvest in our people, especially right now. If they're wanting to leave us, if they're leaving us left and right, we got a problem, man. We got a hole we got to patch up.
Right.
And if we're investing in our truck and like all these brand new like gadgets and gizmos aplenty for ourselves, and we're leaving the people that are actually making us money out there to die on the vine.
Yep.
What do you expect, man? They're looking over the fence at you. You're like, oh, why do I have a turnover problem? Gee, I wonder. People see what you do.
That's
People
right.
see it.
If they have a hard time feeding their family, right? They have a hard time feeding their family and they're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week and you're showing up with a brand new truck, that isn't a good look for the
No, it's not a good look, and it's not saying don't ever go buy a truck.
Right.
It's not me saying that. I'm just saying like, we got to reset our priorities here. Like maybe if we start reallocating some of those resources back into our people, and maybe we just wait a little bit longer to buy the truck.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Man, let's take care of our people first. Like let's re-engage how we build our companies. And I think there's a lot of companies out there that have been built by people who unintentionally built them. This is a fun one. There are a lot of companies out there where Joe likes to weld. And then he goes out and he starts a company. And as a result of that, Joe is now a business owner. And he never wanted to be a business owner. He just wanted to weld. And so we've got a lot of business owners who are kind of in that situation. And they get a little money under them. And they're like, ooh, I'm going to go out and buy me that F-250 or whatever. Like they're going to go out and do some stuff. And I think we got a lot of that going on in the industry. And so we got to kind of preach back to the business owners like, hey, listen, you decided to own a business. It's time to step up. You need to start taking care of your people.
Yep.
If you got a turnover problem, start looking internally. All right. Start looking at you. Look in the mirror. You might be the problem.
And that's a tough pill for people to swallow. That's a tough pill for, because some of these small business owners are like, this is my company, this is how I built it, and this is what I did, and you're gonna sweat, and I didn't use PPE when I was here, and not sure. But then, like I said, this is not, it's 2024, not 1970 anymore, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
take care of your people, make sure they're being taken care of. Pizza party, new PPE, whatever it is, right? Let's monetarily give them some bonuses. It's a good year for the company. Maybe they get to share in some of that.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
those that don't know, storybuildercreative.com is the name of the website. So maybe there's any questions about the video production piece. And the podcast is called Construction Brothers Podcast. If someone wants to get a hold of you, Tyler, how can they do that?
Dude, just follow me on LinkedIn. I'm on there all the time. Tyler Campbell, dude in the blue shirt with a smile on his face. That might be me.
And
And
he responds, because I reached out to him and he responded. Not everybody, some of these guys on LinkedIn and social media, they pay somebody to do their social media, right? Which is crazy, because then you never get a hold of them.
yeah.
I don't understand that either. But all right, so now Tyler comes up. My favorite part of the podcast is the lightning round, 10 rapid fire questions. Going to ask you. Here we go.
All right, I'm ready.
Pick out some good ones for you.
Yeah, let's do
The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are three people you want on your team?
Okay, I'm gonna bring Eddie with me. I'll bring my dad with me. And then oh gosh, yeah. Gosh, I'll bring Andy with me too. Sure, what the heck. Eddie's just a level head. He'll be really good. Dad already has a survival shelter built, so I think we're pretty good. We got some canned goods, so we'll be all right. And then Andy is really good at milking cows and farming and stuff. So that'd be good too,
Yeah,
So,
you got all the bases covered there. All right.
yeah, I mean, he's a farm in Maine, so we're good.
Ooh. All right. If you had your own late night talk show,
God.
who would you invite as your very first guest? Could be anybody.
Anybody? Like in
Anybody.
history?
Yeah, anybody in history.
Anybody in history? Oh gosh, man. All right, I'm gonna say Jesus just because I'm a Christian boy and I don't want to get struck by lightning. So there you go. All right, Jesus.
I would tune into that show. I would watch that show.
I think a lot of people would, right?
I'm down for that one.
Yeah. Okay.
If a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be and who would play you?
It would definitely be a comedy and it would have a Napoleon Dynamite sort of feel. That might already be a script in the process. I'll just say that.
If you have to sing karaoke, what song do you pick?
Living on a Prayer, Bon Jovi, of course, because that's way too high for my vocal range, but we'll make it work.
What would be the most surprising scientific discovery imaginable?
Oh gosh, that we're all living in the Matrix.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That'd be a good one.
Let's see here. If you could add anyone to Mount Rushmore, who would it be and why?
Gosh. Oh gosh, I don't know. Betty White.
Love it. That's a great
I don't
one.
feel like I need to explain that. It's just Betty White. Why not?
I second that. Let's get that started today. Start Chisel on the Rock today. If you could compete in any sport in the Olympics, what would you compete in?
Curling.
As a child, what did you want to be when you grow up?
I wanted to be a luthier, violin maker.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
That's a fun one for you.
You coffee or tea drinker?
Coffee, of course.
What fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Oh gosh, Narnia, because it seems a little happier than Tolkien land.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think you're right.
I like Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings. Actually, I don't know. I can go to the Shire. I'd be okay with that. If I could just get it down to the Shire, I'm okay with that. I'd be good with that. Yeah.
What's your cell phone wallpaper?
Cell phone wallpaper is literally just black.
Black. All right.
Black.
If you could change places with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Gosh, dude, change places. Can I say I don't want to? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. I'm good.
Any hidden talents? Do you have any hidden talents?
Oh gosh, are they hidden? I can solve a Rubik's Cube in under minute 30.
That's a great one. That's a fantastic one.
Yeah.
And then I always like to ask this one. There's a food fight at the Campbell house tonight. What is your weapon of choice? And you cannot say spaghetti.
Potato.
Oh, see. I usually say you can't say potato. I usually can't say potato because someone usually says that, but you got me. So mashed potatoes at the Campbell's house. You're gonna big wooden spoon.
No. Okay, not a mashed potato.
Oh, a regular hard potato?
No, like a regular hard potato. I get a spud launcher. Yeah.
Oh man, you're killing people at that house, man. That's not a food fight. That's a massacre.
I have two older brothers, so I mean, yeah, I kind of gotta.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
I love it. I love
Get
it.
the gun out.
All right, so if you're going to dinner at the Campbell's house tonight, bring a spud gun or a shield because he's going to be firing hard-boiled potatoes at you, I guess, or raw potatoes. Raw potatoes.
Raw potatoes, bro. We're making sure that they do some damage.
Oh, make sure you bring a helmet. Make sure you bring a PPE and a hard hat and a helmet because you got some hard
It won't matter.
potatoes.
It won't matter. That thing launches them good.
All right. That's our friend Tyler Campbell from StorybuilderCreative.com and the folks over at the Construction Brothers podcast. Tyler, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you very much.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you.
Thanks.